Alrighty, welcome to another Premodern video here on TCGplayer.com. I'm trotting out one of my favorites, Psychatog. Psychatog is a pretty sweet blue-black. It's a control deck, but it can kill out of nowhere with Psychatog. Discard a card, +1/+1. Exile 2 cards from your graveyard, +1/+1. Till in a turn only. Psychic Frog is a bit better of a card, I'll tell you that. Gush puts lots of cards in your hand. Factor of Fiction puts cards in hand. Accumulated Knowledge. It's got some cantrips, Impulse, and Portent. And then it's got like duresses, mana leaks, counter spells, some smothers, powder keg. Let's get in there. We're playing in a league here, and I'm on the draw with what does not look like a keepable hand. This hand just doesn't do anything. It can't cast any of its spells. All right, this is a lot better. And I think I'm going to put Portent back because I'm planning on casting Duress on turn 1 and then keeping up one of these 2 mana plays on turn 2. I think that was a pretty good mulligan. Windswept Heath. So maybe playing against like the Terravore deck. Elves. Oh, Enchantress. All right, well. Powder Keg not so great here, but getting to duress them does help a bit. Powder Keg can also kill Argothian Enchantress. All right, yeah, definitely taking Enchantress's presence. If they want to play a Parallax Wave, they can. So they're playing an Enchantress deck. They have 4 Argothian Enchantress, 4 Enchantress's presence, and basically Argothian Enchantress is a 0/1 hexproof, or Shroud actually. Whenever you cast an enchantment, draw a card. So if they don't have one of those 8 effects in play, their deck, which is just like 30-something enchantments, maybe more, I don't know, doesn't really do that much. Like they can play a turn 2 Parallax Wave here off of Brushland, Windswept Heath, but getting a Parallax Wave out right now doesn't really even do much. I mean, they might do it just because they want to spend their mana, but yeah, it looks like that's what they're playing. All right, works for me. And I'm just going to go Pluto Delta Go. No reason to get Powder Keg out. And this way, I'm just going to save a counterspell for their enchantments that draw cards, or Argothian Enchantress or Enchantress's Presence, and outlast that Parallax Wave. And if they don't do anything, then I get to cast some card draw. It's going to be nice. The only thing that's unfortunate is getting Powder Keg down could mean I could blow up Argothian Enchantress, so it would be nice to get it down at some point. Opalescence, oh, that I do need to counterspell, because that makes Parallax Wave into a creature, and that is bad news. All right, so they did draw one of their other must counters, which means they do get a window to resolve another Enchantress, but they would have last turn, so I assume they didn't draw it. I assume they drew Opalescence this turn, most likely. And the question now is, do I play Powder Keg for Argothian Enchantress to start building up, or do I wait? I think I Impulse, because if I can Impulse into another counter, that's a lot better. And then maybe play Powder Keg on turn 4, something like that. So we'll see. So Premodern, if you hadn't played it, by the way, is a really sweet format. Oh, Mana Leak, perfect. Doesn't counter everything, but it's got a pretty decent chance. This is cards legal from like 1995 to 2003, and a lot of really cool old decks. Psychatog is a really fun one. Enchantress. I actually played basically this Enchantress deck at Worlds 2007 in Legacy. It was sweet. I got to play like Moat that they don't get to play, but otherwise, I mean, had a lot of the same cards. And their wave goes down to 3. Let's see. All bangers over here. Well, luckily, Mana Leak works for now. In fact, I don't think I even want to sack this Delta because I don't mind drawing a land. Sterling Grove. Okay, so now all their enchantments have Shroud, and they can sack that to go get another enchantment, which is Enchantress's Presence. Oh, a Null. That is perfect. Let me actually play Powder Keg now, because if I can get this up to 2, it can blank Argothian Enchantress, and it takes a little while to do that, so I think I should. Here, look, this is your turn to resolve Enchantress's Presence. You got to go for it. Skip your draw, sack the Sterling Grove, do it all. The 1 copy of a Null in the main deck is looking nice here. Let's hope they don't just draw Enchantress's Presence. That would be a lot more annoying. If they draw a random enchantment, though, they might try to set it up for next turn. Looks like that's what they're going to do. All right, I will put a counter on the Powder Keg. Smother is a dead draw, so that's unfortunate. I'm just going to pass. Well, actually, I'm going to cast AK here because I could hit a land drop. Psychatog is not really too relevant right now. I have a null up either way. Yeah, they're going to go get Enchantress's Presence. And they're going to be very annoyed when I cast a null to counter it. Oh, they got Opalescence? Sure. Well, I'm going to counter it either way. Because with Opalescence, the Parallax Wave can wave itself and just keep waving creatures, waving itself, keep coming back. So don't want that to happen. And I could play the Psychatog, or I could have Impulse up. I guess I'll see what I draw. If I draw a land, my inclination is to cast, is just leave mana up for Impulse. And that way I could Impulse into a counterspell or an Accumulated Knowledge. If I don't draw a land, maybe I just play the Psychatog. Their Parallax Wave doesn't matter right now. I get to, they can't believe this and all. They're stunned. I get to put the Powder Keg up to 2. Yeah, they are 14. They're dead kind of quickly. All right, I'll just play the Psychatog then. I got to tap out for it at some point. And it also might be such that I draw a land next turn and then could Impulse into a 2-drop. Seal of Cleansing. Okay, so they drew a card that trades for my Powder Keg. Yeah, that's fine by me. Take my turn. All right, land isn't bad. I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, I can't quite kill them here. They did take a lot of damage off their brush lands and Windswept Heaths. They cracked 3 heaps, 3 heaths, and then I guess tapped brush land 3 times. That seems actually kind of a lot. Interesting. All right. Well, definitely worth keeping Impulse up rather than playing second Psychatog, because there are some cards they could play. For example, familiar with the card Elephant Grass? It's a 1 mana enchantment that costs a green mana and black creatures cannot attack. I'm going to Impulse in response to Sylvan. I hit Duress in all lands. Okay. Well, Sylvan's not that bad because I'm going to kill them pretty quickly. I think if I draw a Gush, I win. Well, Circular Logic is pretty close because this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and a half damage. Okay. Well, I don't think I Duress here because there's just not that many things they could actually have. And I'm very close to killing them. If I have to cast Circular Logic here, next turn I have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Exactly enough. Oh, they... Interesting. Discard Circular Logic. Madness. Okay, they're done. That's enough. Countering their swords was good enough. Okay, so sideboard's kind of nice. I get to bring in a couple of nulls. I get to bring in Engineered Plague because I can name Enchantress, and Argothian Enchantress is a 0/1, so I can take out Powder Keg. The Smothers don't really do anything. I don't think I want Phyrexian Furnace, Blue Blasts. Don't think Back to Basics is that good. It stops... It does turn off Sarah's Sanctum, I guess. Do I want another Engineered Plague? The rest of my deck is Counterspells and Duresses and a bunch of annuls and card draw. I think that's good. Don't think I want more Fling. All right. Let's try and see how this goes. All right, time for game 2. Ooh. Go ahead and keep this hand. I've got early annul and some cantrips and a Psychatog, and I think they're mulliganing as well. So the question is, do I keep up a null on turn 2? Depends what they do on turn 1. If they go turn 1 exploration, then I think I am supposed to keep up a null. Tormod's Crypt? People really shouldn't be allowed to sideboard some of those cards. It's just so bad against Psychatog. It doesn't matter. All right, I'll portent myself. Oh, okay. I will not shuffle because I can impulse past the island, which is what I'm going to draw third. And Annul is just a really good card. If they play an Argothian Enchantress here, then I'm in trouble, but I had no way to stop Argothian Enchantress anyways. Oh, Defense Grid. Okay. That's a good sideboard card. All right, so let's just cast Impulse now. because I can't cast it on their turn. Counterspell, Island. I think I'll just take Polluted Delta. The thing is, I'm just so far from Counterspell that casting Psychatog the next couple turns seems like a pretty good plan. Oh, no enchantments out, huh? All right, well, let's get Psychatog out here. They can Tormod's crypt me in advance here to cut down on Psychatog. All right, they kind of need to do something this turn. Oh, that's pretty good, because they must have just drawn that. Because I have a null up now, but it's less good given that they have an Enchantress going. I'm actually going to exile 2 cards from my graveyard, because to make it so Tormod's Crypt doesn't get me, I'm just going to save it up here. And if they don't cast anything this turn, Miri's Guile, I'm going to annul that. They get to draw a card still, but it doesn't help their Serra's Sanctum. Okay, just 1 enchantment, not bad. Draw. Can I kill them here? If they don't block, let's say 6. So if I cast Gush, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in hand, 3 in graveyard. 9 in hand is 10 plus 6. I think this is lethal if they don't block. And there's defense grid out, so they can't actually cast anything. And I just have to make sure Tormod's Crypt doesn't get me here. Let's see. So let me just check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then exile 7, 8, 9. Then I cast Gush, and I have 4 cards in hand. That goes me to 13, 14. So that is enough. So I guess I can impulse first to get another half card in. It doesn't matter which one I take, I don't think. Cast Gush, returning 2 islands. Cast another impulse. Take an AK. And exile 2 cards. I have 9 cards in my hand here. And so this is 1, 2, 3, 9, 12. Yeah, this is definitely enough. All right. Psychatog goes pretty fast. That it does. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 6, or this is 6. Okay, they're not even pretending like they're going to use Tormod's Crypt, I don't think. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think I was like a point or 2 over. 14. Yeah, I was like 2 cards up. So they can Tormod's Crypt me, but it's not going to do anything. All right. That's how you Psychatog. Look at that. Not a lot they can do, I don't think. Just exile 2 cards. And at some point they could have Tormods to maybe catch 1 card, but not even, because now I could have just discarded and exiled it in response. So Tormod's Crypt doesn't really stop Psychatog from dealing damage. All right. So 17 power Psychatog. Boom. All right. 1-0. All right. Time for round 2. I'd like to play first. All right. I will keep this on the play. And hope they don't resolve something really good on turn 1. But I have on turn 2 Mana Leak up and a pair of impulses to find whatever it is I'm missing. Impulse is a pretty good card. Playing against Denver Zeppo. Wonder what that means. Who knows? I sure don't. Though I do live in Denver. Island into Portent. So it could be the mirror, but it's way more likely that they're mono blue Dreadnought. So kind of an interesting matchup here. They're trying to go Phyrexian Dreadnought, stifle it, or Vision Charm it. And they have a bunch of cantrips and free counters and whatnot to back that up. Daze and foil and stuff. Factor of Fiction is not a terrible draw in a blue mirror for sure. Obviously, it's not exactly what I'm looking for right now. Oh, Flooded Strand, they might just be blue-white then. They could also be blue-white Dreadnought. I mean, there's a couple different decks they could be. At this point, I have to take Island here. Sad, because AKs are pretty nice. Though, if it's the AK mirror, accumulated knowledge checks on the opponent's graveyard as well as your own. So you really don't want to be the person casting those first. In fact, it's like really important that you're not. Are they thinking of doing something end of turn here? Next turn, I'm just going to have another land. Obviously, if I knew I was drawing some lands, I would have just kept Counterspell, but certainly would be deranged to do that in the current moment. Play an island just to represent Counterspell. Pass the turn. Powder Keg good if they're playing Dreadnought. Though Flood Strand does make them a little bit less likely because that deck typically just doesn't play fetch lands. It doesn't really have a reason to. So, but Optus, I don't know. I would say that the like a landstill decks don't play as many of the 1-mana cantrips. They could be Miracle Grow still, like the Kirin Dryad, Psychatog. Yeah, that's what they are with City of Brass 5-color deck. Okay, well, I'm going to cast another Impulse. Oh, I think I'll take a Duress here. And I don't know that I'm going to cast Duress yet. If I draw a land here, I kind of want to just wait until I can cast Duress on the same turn that I would want to cast Factor Fiction. I can also potentially just cast Factor Fiction end of turn. They have their own counters, of course. But if they're not doing anything, I don't mind just chilling here. I do kind of want to use Mana Leak before it goes bad. Yeah, Impulse is fine. It just replaces itself. Obviously, it's a good card, but not something that's like mission critical to counter here. Fun fact, Impulse was misprinted. It told you to shuffle. It said put all the cards on the bottom, then shuffle, which is not how it works. Portent? All right. If they're not spending their mana, I don't mind just chilling and not spending mine. I'm probably going to just go land Duress next turn. Though, there's also the I'm not going to cast Foff here. There's the temptation of hard casting Gush as well. I guess all these Duresses mean I should probably just do this. Let's see. Their hand is Foil, Armageddon, a bunch of Swords to Plowshares, Factor, Fiction, Psychatog, and Counterspell. Huh? Let's see. Foil, you have to discard an island and another card. We'll take their Counterspell, and I think I pass the turn here and see what they do. Got to make sure not to get caught by that Armageddon. It's true. They did nothing. All right. It's fine by me. If they're doing nothing, I'm doing nothing. Especially if I draw a land here still. Are they going to Foff upkeep? I wouldn't mind that, actually. Counterspell's gone. They're not very close to Armageddon being good, I'll say that much. And I have Gush, so I could return some lands if I needed to. An AK. I'm going to Duress. And I kind of assume they're casting Foff in response. Oh, they're not. They're just letting me take it. Okay. Well, in that case, I'll take the Foff. And pass the turn. Okay. Okay. The Foff is gone. All right. I think I just say go. They can end of turn. Oh, they didn't even ice. Huh. Okay. They're just going to say go again now? They drew a land, so they have those 6 cards in hand. I think I will Foff end of turn. I'll let them cast foil. No, they just said go. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll take lands over Duress. Is that true? No, I might even just take the Duress here. No, you can't put a land and a Duress. That's crazy. Okay. I was already considering taking the duress, so. Do I want a duress? I think so. At some point they should just foil, yeah. Um, let's see. So they have these 5 cards in hand. I basically could mana leak and take a Geddon, but I don't think I care about that. I'm just going to play a land. I'm just going to pass the turn. And if they play Psychatog and I can mana leak it, I probably will and cast AK. If they draw a land first, well, they might not even play the land because of their Armageddon. Okay, they did draw a land, and they're not playing anything? Okay, end of turn, I guess I'll cast Gush for 5 mana. Oh, now I have a counterspell? Nice. I really want to find a Smother. I guess finding more counterspells is fine too. Because I wanted to be able to not have to counterspell the Psychatog. In fact, I'd rather smother it. But if they're just going to chill and not do anything, then I'm fine by that too. I'll just be out here hardcasting Gushes. Hardcast my draw twos. I'll cast an Impulse. Annul, Impulse, Mana Leak, Powder Keg. I'll take Mana Leak. It might not work, but it'll work on like the second spell they play in a turn. And at some point I'm going to need to play a Psychatog to win the game, but if I draw enough cards first, then that can just be a formality. I've used 3 of my duresses. Are they casting an AK? It'd be so sick. Oh, they're casting a Gush. I will counterspell the Gush. I'll counterspell their draw twos. I think I'm okay to do that right now. And they might just cast Geddon here. Then I could mana leak it. They could also cast Psychatog, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Perfect. I get a chance to use a mana leak. That's exactly what I'm hoping. And then they go land Psychatog. So they have island plus those 4 cards plus an unknown card in hand. I wouldn't be surprised if they cast Psychatog here. And then they got mana leaked. I mean, I guess I kind of am running out of a card draw here. I'll crack this. Island. And mana leak the Psychatog. And end of turn, I will cast an AK here. Boom, boom, boom. Draw a card. Well, I've got some card draw here. That I do. Let's AK for 2. They have a bunch of counters or a bunch of swords in hand. Here's where like a Mind Twist would be sick. Just pass the turn. And I might actually want to Gush by returning lands here at some point, because that will just deal a lot more damage. We're getting to the point where I want to kill them with Psychatog. Okay, let me just crack this delta. I don't have too many more lands to get at 4 islands. Take my turn. All right. Let's Gush. Let's play a Psychatog. And play a land. And I could play another Psychatog. Let's play around Mana Leak. Let's just chill for now. I'm gonna pass the turn. They're gonna Swords the Psychatog. I'm gonna counterspell it. They can Swords it again. They're gonna counterspell back. All right. Psychatog down. Next turn, run out another Tog. It is annoying to fight over these swords, but I feel like I do have to kill them eventually here. Oh, a Foff? All right. Pass the turn. I think I'll Circular Logic a Swords here if they cast it end of turn. Okay, Madness. So make them pay 21 mana. Okay. And my Psychatog becomes a 2/3. Oh, are they swordsing it again? So they have one card in hand. Fire Ice plus one card. Let me gush here. Okay. Sure. All right. So they're down to not very many cards in hand. Hopefully they don't find a card draw spell here. They have a Fire Ice in hand. Okay, end of turn, I'm going to Foff at this point. If they have Mana Leak, that's fine. Tog. Okay. I'll take Tog plus AK. Or I'll just take 2 Togs. I'll have to take the 2 Togs then. Draw for the turn. Portent myself here. Duress, Portent. Okay. So I'm going to put it in this order. Do I want to shuffle? No. Play a land. Pass the turn here. And this way I'm going to draw Duress and Portent. And no, they didn't play anything end of turn. And I can Duress them, and that'll let me do something here. Main phase Impulse. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if they Impulse into a creature, they could play a creature here. Okay, take my turn. I have a Portent. Let's just go Duress here. Their hand is Foil, Mox Diamond, Fire Ice. All right, I'll take Foil. And I'll Portent them. Their hand is... Okay, so put Portent, Fire Ice, Island. I'll not shuffle, play a land, and I'll play 2 Psychatogs here. And they're drawing an island here. So, and then I'm drawing, my next turn is another Portent. I think that was the last card. So I will keep that. No reason to attack my Polluted Delta at the moment. So what they can do, well, not anymore because they conceded. They can ice both Psychatogs. But, all right. Well, that was a clinic. Oh, drawing a counterspell anyway. On, I would say, card draw, giving me a huge advantage there. Put in a Morphling. It's a little tough because Morphling isn't good against Armageddon, but I don't think I want back to basics. It locks down City of Brass is all. Annul's not that good. I mean, most of what I have here actually isn't that effective. I guess I could put in a Powder Keg. Savo's Web, Blue Blast. No, I don't really want any of these cards. All right. I'll keep my 1 Powder Keg in for now. All right. Game 2. Very solid hand. Turn 1, Portent. Turn 2, Mana Leak and Smother up. And yeah, basically what happened that game is a combination of Duresses and counters meant that I resolved all my card draw and they didn't resolve any of theirs. And I just had way more cards than them at the end. I mean, I had mostly lands because I had drawn so many cards, but I had like 14 cards off my deck and they had 30 something. So yeah, I had drawn 20 more cards than them. Okay, Portent. And let's also just Portent myself. Portenting them early is kind of tough. Ooh, this is good. I think Island's the only card I don't really want, so I'll keep a Duress. Though, let's see, I'm going to draw Duress, and then I'm going to draw Delta. I guess, or draw Delta, then draw Duress. I guess I'll just play Delta on turn 2 and shuffle away an Island. Okay, Mox Diamond. Do we have a turn 2 Tog? No, we're just gonna chill. All right. I'm just going to chill with Mana Leak up. I don't really think I need to Duress here. I'd rather Duress on turn 3. There's not that many spells they can play end of turn that I care about. And I can mana leak here. Do I want to draw a land? It's actually kind of interesting. I guess I actually don't mind drawing a land. And then I'll duress here, and if they counter it, that's fine. This just gives me a sense of what's going on. Okay. All right. I think mana leaking that is too bad. It gives me information, lets me use my mana leak. I feel like I'm going to get to mana leak something good regardless, and it makes them spend their mana on that thing. Oh. Okay. I mean, maybe mana leak's going to be a little tougher to resolve. No, well, the second mana leak could be good. I'm going to wait a turn before deploying Psychatog here. Okay. I could also double mana leak something if I really wanted to. If I draw a land, I might just play a land. Actually, I'm just going to chill for one more turn here. They didn't do anything last turn. I just don't really want to gush and discard. And tapping out for a Psychatog doesn't seem all that appealing either. And they're just chilling. So, okay, Portent. I will Portent myself. Here's where Portent not shuffling or not drawing right away is kind of brutal because I don't get to draw my land. Hit my land drop. You're thinking of icing my polluted delta and make me shuffle? Oh no. Gush, end of turn. A team of wild horses couldn't make me cast Gush end of turn. They could not drag it out of me. I don't understand. You just floated mana. Now you're casting an AK, which is also fine. Just returning 2 lands before taking your turn is just crazy. All right. All of the Herd. I will mana leak that just to use my mana leak now. Call the Herd is solid. It does kind of make a 2-for-1. All right, I'm going to draw my land here. Play a land. I'm going to duress because it would really be helpful in knowing what I'm supposed to be doing this game. Swords, swords, gush, gush, tog. Okay. I'm going to take a gush and they have tog, swords, gush. I'm just going to pass here and see what they do. I'm going to try to win this game with accumulated knowledges and gushes. So duressing their gush, I think, makes sense. I'll mana leak that. I just want to use the mana leak because it's just not going to, I'm not going to be able to counter swords very easily. I guess I could have tried to counter swords end of turn. I can smother the Psychatog instead. And I think I am drawing another land here, which I actually don't really want. Let's just go get a swamp. Take my turn. They draw off Portent. All right. I'm going to gush here. Portent myself. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the AK is fine, so let's not shuffle. Let's play a land. And let's just play the Psychatog, make them use their swords. Pass the turn, draw the AK, and then I can impulse past the 2 islands. All right. This is working out pretty nicely, I would say. I would like to hold the AK. It'd be nice to get the AK spot to be that they have 2 in their graveyard and then I start casting them, because then I can just draw enough cards that I just, not much they can do. Okay, they're going to get to gush here. I'm going to pretend to mana leak it. Foolishness, I know. Now they're going to go land swords the Tog to start with, I would assume. And then maybe play their own. Oh, they're playing their own first. Okay. Togs can eat AKs out of your graveyard too, so you can kind of combat opposing AKs that way. Okay, I'm going to cast Impulse because I don't want to draw one of these islands. Oh, I definitely take Counterspell. All right, take my turn. Yeah. Say go, I guess. Could play another Tog, but I kind of want to spend my mana on everything else. Huh, they did not spend their mana end of turn. Okay, so I know they have 2 swords in hand. End of turn, they're doing nothing. I'll spend 5 mana. I'll let them use a mana leak or a counterspell or something. No? All right. Well, I'll keep an island in hand because of foil here. And I'm going to smother their Psychatog. Oh, that was really not the way to tap it. Huh. All right. I'll hit them. They're going to use a swords. Say okay. Pass the turn. And once again, I'm just out carding them a bunch. And they're not doing anything here. They 2-for-1 me on Call or Herd. I guess there's that. Psychatog. I'll counter it. See if they counter back here. They did not. And end of turn, I will AK for 2 here. If they have their own AK, I can foil it. But it didn't seem like they did. And all right, let's play Psychatog. And pass the turn here. They've got another swords. They can swords it, and I'm not going to fight over it. You only need the one Psychatog. Also, the Morphling that I sided in is looking good here. As long as I don't get Armageddon, which doesn't seem like that's what's happening right now, Morphling is going to be a dope. All right, take my turn. Play Pluto Delta. I think it's worth playing lands at this point because I'll be returning the lands with Gush here. Okay. Lots of swords and or plowshares here. Play another Psychatog, pass the turn. They do have 5 cards in hand. All right, fine. I'm gonna allow them to trade all their swords for all my Togs. I'll sack this. I have another Delta, so if I need to, I can just get that Delta to for a shuffle or what have you. Okay, well. This is my last Psychatog, but I do have that Morphling, so it's possible that I don't fight over this. It does kill them in one shot, I would assume. Well, it doesn't quite, but it gets pretty close. Foil? Let's counterspell the foil. Let's do that. See if Tog resolves. All right. I feel like the fact that it kills them in one shot makes it reasonable to go for this, even though I have been trying to counter most of this fight over to card draw instead of the creatures so much. They have swords number 4. Surprised me. This is Psychatog number 4. Their own Psychatog. Let me Gush returning 2 lands and see. Okay, that's fine. End of turn. Crack Delta. They have 2 cards. Just their Psychatog's so much smaller than mine. Get another island. Cast an AK. They should eat the AK in their graveyard, actually. Oh, and I have double foil now. Any impulse just to find AK or smother or something? AK. They have 1 in their graveyard. They have 1 card. And I have 2 in my graveyard. I think I just exile my 2 AKs. And they can draw 2. I think foil is better than countering a draw 2. Oh. Let's just take a Morphling here. Okay. I could have gotten a circular logic, but oh, this also works. Let's go smother on your Psychatog. And I think I can just attack and go for lethal. Boom. All right, that was a classic blue control mirror, and mostly we drew more cards, just the way Magic should. I was gonna say just the way Garfield intended / just the way Magic should work. In any case, 2-0. Let's play one more. All right, time for round 3. Solid hand. I could technically foil on turn 1. If they play a turn 1 Goblin Lackey, I guess I have to. But there's not much else I would counter on turn 1, I wouldn't think. Not an Exploration. No, Miri's Guile. We're playing against Enchantress again. All right, so I'm going to Duress here. And, man, I really hope they don't have our Argothian Enchantress. Sterling Grove, Wild Growth, Replenish. Serious Sanctum. Okay. This is going to be a tough game, I think. I could take Replenish, returns all enchantments, but that one I can counter later or Duress later. I think I could just take Sterling Grove here. And I don't think I can afford to counter a Wild Growth here either. Casting foil is just way too costly here. So they get to look at their top 3 cards, rearrange them. They're going to Wild Growth the Sarah's Sanctum. And then cast Enchantress's Presence. And I guess I will foil it, discarding a Portent. And I hope to draw a land, but okay, I did draw a land. And I'll Duress the Replenish. All right. So I got 3 for 1 on the foil, and the rest 2 things. So I've gotten them down to not very many cards. They just have a Wild Growth, but they have a lot of mana with the Sarah's Sanctum. It's going to be tapping for 3 mana in a second. So it's 5-6 mana. And they have a Miri's Guile. Okay, so they're holding the Wild Growth. Actually, I don't need to crack this. No Surveil lands to get, you know. If I draw an island here, or if they just miss for a little bit, then maybe I can claw my way back in. If I find a Gush or AK or Factor Fiction, I guess I'm 1 mana short of Factor Fiction, but I can start casting some card draw. They clearly missed on Miri's Guile, which means 2 of their top 3 cards aren't that good. They're just lands or something. Seal of Cleansing, sure. They just have Wild Growth in hand. All right, let's crack this. Let's get an island. Let's cast Impulse. Annul Factor Fiction Psychatog. I'm going to take Factor Fiction. I'm not going to shuffle because I don't want to draw any of those cards yet. I want to draw a land. I'll be shuffling soon enough. Oh, there's a land. Whew. This actually is kind of going well. Let's see if they miss this turn, because they missed last 2 turns. They drew Brushland and Seal of Cleansing. Not the most exciting. This is not Sylvan Library. There's a big difference. You don't get to pay life. So, oh, I hope this isn't something I have to counter here. Oh, it is though. Okay, well, it'll take me another turn then before I can cast Foffers. Counterspell. And let's hope they miss one more time. 18. So 1, 2, oh, I have 10 cards. It's 5 damage, 6 damage, and if I Foff and I choose the pile of 3 in hand, that's 9, 10, 11. So it's not lethal yet. So I think I'm just going to wait. I don't care about hitting a land drop here. So I'm going to wait on Foff so they don't know that I'm Foffing. Not that there's much they can do about it, but I don't know. Maybe it changes the ordering. All right. Bleeds don't hit. Nice, they did not. Let's just get another island here. Extra blue is good. Off into Psychatog, Impulse, Mana Leak, and 2 lands. Mana Leak is not great because they have currently 6 mana at their disposal. Impulse is the best card. Well, they don't know that I've got Psychatog in hand. So they might make a pile that makes it hard for me to take Psychatog, and then I can just take the Impulse instead. Basically, I think that they might want to split Island Psychatog versus Island Impulse Mana Leak. You don't really want to put 3 cards with Psychatog, and I would not put Psychatog and Impulse together. You can put Mana Leak with the weaker one, which I think is the Impulse. So it looks like this is the pile I think they should make, and I'm going to take the Mana Leak Impulse pile. Oh, they're doing it this way. I would not split it 5 and 0. Oh, they're doing it this way? Okay, this is a good split too. Yeah, I'll take the Mana Leak Impulse pile. So no, they did a good job there. Another land doesn't help me too much. I'll still play it, and I'll play Tog. And I have Mana Leak up, which doesn't stop much, but could stop or replenish. It could also make it so maybe they can't play an enchantment afterwards. If I Impulse into a Gush, can I win the game? Swords to Plowshares. All right. That's fair. They have Wild Growth and I presumably a brick in hand. It's Impulse, AK, Impulse, Counterspell. I don't have any AKs in the graveyard. I'm just going to take the Counterspell. I feel like Counterspell is just pretty good at buying me at least an extra turn. Mana Leak, so at its weakest now, given that they know about it and they have a lot of mana. I just need to find a Gush or a Foff or an AK. Well, one AK is not necessarily going to do it. But I also have Impulse, Opt. I have a lot more card draw than they do. So I feel like, and even though they have a Miri's Guile, I kind of assume that the Miri's Guile at this point is not. Actually, I'm going to play my land because I want to be able to cast Impulse or Counterspell and then Mana Leak goes follow up. I guess the Powder Keg didn't do anything because of Seal of Cleansing. Sure, maybe I shouldn't have played it. But yes, they have Miri's Guile, but I kind of assume their top 2 cards are generally not that good. Okay, Counterspell. And they're not going to follow anything up with it because they know that I have Mana Leak in hand. All right. Psychatog. How much damage do I have? I'm still pretty short. I have effectively 18 cards in graveyard with this Powder Keg. So that's 9, 10 damage. Draw 11, 12, 13. But 1 Gush. And we could be doing things. It'd be nice if they missed here. Parallax Wave. I'm going to Mana Leak the Parallax Wave because it's not like Mana Leak is doing much better. Huh. That's interesting they let me Mana Leak. I foffed into the Mana Leak, and they could easily have played around it if they wanted to. All right. Okay, Portent. That's money. AK Smother. All right. Any order, and I will shuffle. Attack. I'm gonna do a little bit of damage here. I feel like they don't have swords right now. I mean, maybe they do. They probably would have done it when I was tapped out, I think. So it's not that I can't kill them here, but I feel like getting a bunch of damage in is worth it. Makes their brush lands worse at the very least. And I don't use my graveyard. I also don't, my Psychatogs don't need to be of any particular size. I guess I want to keep circular logic up here. Okay. Let's do that. Hit them to 10. So they're not dead next turn or anything like that. All right, Portent, let's go. Big money. Better than a land or a smother. Worse than pretty much any other blue card, I think. Maybe Mana Leak is worse, the 1 Mana Leak I have left. Right? Because I've only used the 1, yeah. There's a lot I lose to here, unfortunately. Oh, Solitary Confinement? Okay, so this makes them, they have Shroud, they don't take damage, but they have to discard a card every turn to keep it around. And, Well, they had to cast it because I was going to kill them this turn. Annul, smother, smother. Okay. I will shuffle and then I'll gush. Annul is great, obviously, but I feel like there's some other drawing some AKs or whatnot is better. Of course, I drew AK smother, smother instead, so that was just way worse, but okay. I do get to draw a card off this portent still. Let's go. A little action. Oh, counterspell. That probably does it. Okay, they were just buying a turn off the solitary confinement because now they're at 10 and I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I have 10 with this powder keg. Okay, I think we've got it here. Miri's Guile, sure. That's it. That's all you got? No on powder keg. Do I need to duress them? Hold on. I might need not to duress them. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I guess I can duress them still. All right. Their hand is Mirrored Guile and 2 Wild Growths. Sack Powder Keg. All right. Ooh, this was the game where we foiled on turn 2, discarding down our only land in hand. What a nice game. Into fact or fiction, and Enchantress runs into kind of the biggest problem with Enchantress, which is if it doesn't have one of the Enchantress's presence or Gothian Enchantresses in play, which, if you notice, this is the third game we've played in this video against Enchantress. They've never had one in play. I guess they had one in play briefly in like the last game. The deck doesn't function. It just does not work. Its cards don't do enough individually. They do when they're drawing an extra card every turn, you know, but as it currently stands, boom, take 10. On to game 2, where I get some more 1-mana counters, which are pretty nice. And I'm going to take out the powder keg and take out the smothers and put in some engineered plagues. I think something like this is probably good. All right, let's do it. All right, time for game 2. Oh yeah, I'm in to foil on turn 1 again. I'm going to keep this hand though because I can portent into hopefully some lands. Drawing a swamp on turn 1 would also be nice. Oh no, turn 1 Xantid Swarm? Okay, that's going to be tough. And I boarded out all my removal. Good beats. Good beats. All right, well, I drew the swamp, but whenever this attacks, I can't cast spells. I don't have a way to kill it, so I'm going to have to win without counter spells. Their hand is Swords, Enchantress, Presence, Opalescence. Yeah, I'll take Enchantress's Presence, but I guess I'm going to have to leave in some smothers. Yeah, that's a good sideboard option for sure. Draw. Land. Pass the turn. I mean, I'm going to just cast AK on their turn. I could have foiled discarding my island. I didn't really think that was a great way to try to win the game. Okay. AK, draw, Psychatog. They have swords in hand. So maybe I'll just portent. Maybe I'll portent them and try to make it. Oh, I do not want them drawing these. Okay. Any order. Use the ability. Yeah, I'm going to shuffle them and then I'll portent them again. Brushland, Brushland, Argothian, Enchantress. Okay, so I'll put it Enchantress, Brushland, Brushland, I guess. And not shuffle now. Pass the turn, draw 2 off portents. Okay, duress is actually what I was looking for because I can duress Swords to Plowshares here. Okay, their hand is Swords, Opalescence, Wild Growth. Yeah, I'm going to duress Swords, play Psychatog, and then they're going to draw another Brushland, and then they're going to draw Argothian Enchantress the turn after that, but it's not going to do too much. They're going to attack with the Xantid Swarm now, so they can play Opalescence, which will make it so their enchantments are creatures. Okay. Draw. Play another Psychatog. Hit. And now they're going to get to play Argothian Enchantress. After attacking with Xantid Swarm, and then they get to play Wild Growth, take a damage, and draw a card. Oh my god. No, no, okay. If they didn't attack first and I didn't have the island to foil them, it's so brutal. All right, well, they at least attack. So now if I just draw like a Gush or something, let's say I have 7, so 6 plus 11, so 5, 11, 13. I have 13 damage right now. And Opalescence does not make their Wild Growth into a creature. Okay, and they didn't hit another enchantment there. Another Psychatog. All right. Attack. I think I just do this. Pass the turn. And hope they don't hit a string of enchantments. If they don't, then if they attack with Xantid Swarm, that's no good. Oh, they didn't attack with Xantid Swarm. Okay, so now how much do I have? I have 5 plus 6, 11. Oh, this is lethal. They actually have to start blocking now. And if they don't, they die? All right. Okay. Let me see. This is 6, 7. I'm going to split these up. 8. I can actually counter on my turn, but I think I actually have to discard both of these cards as well. So this is 9, 10, 11, 12. I have exactly. All right, well, I'm just going to go for it. If they have a swords, then they have a swords. And if they don't, then they're toast. This is exactly 14. Oh, Psychatog 3-0. Oh, what a nice deck. I mean, just take a look at this beauty. These are some sweet games. Just the Psychatog math with Gush and Foff goes pretty crazy. I love the one Morphling sideboard. I think that's really sweet. I don't know about like the back to basics and the Sabo's Web yet. I think the second Powder Keg is a fine hedge. Ivory Tower against Burn. Same with the Blue Blast. Plague against the Tribal decks. Plus, against the Enchantress deck's actually fine. And then Double Furnace against Graveyard Hate. Not a lot for like the Mirror, but this deck's pretty good. Or like the Blue Control Mirror. Because this deck's pretty good at that with 4 Duresses, 6 counters, 7 counters with Circular Logic, and then 9 with the foils, and tons of card draw. And then you do get to bring in Morphling. So, nice little pre-modern video. As always, thanks to Ultimate Guard, sponsor of Team TCG Player and TCG Player, the best place to get anything you need card game related online. So that'll do it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.